everyone, it's Ashley Little with Wholesaling Out of the Box, and today I'm joined by Luna Ankrum and Shawn Bowen, and we're discussing new school marketing. We've got a battle for the ages or a battle of the ages, and it'll be debate style. So we've got a rough outline, and each of our participants will have about 2 minutes going back and forth to advocate for or against our two new school styles of marketing, which is text and social media. So let's go ahead and get started. Luna, you start us off. You have 1 minute to tell us about your marketing experience.
So I come from the marketing world of digital marketing. I've been blogging, YouTubing, social media, everything about digital marketing is just right up my alley. Video editing, anything that I can get my hands on that's, online, digital, whatever. That's kind of where I'm coming from. I've had a couple years experience on my own side of things, and I just came out of college for this, and I've had a couple internships before regarding this, and then this is my first full-time external job around this. So it's interesting to bring what I've learned into a whole new space and a whole new niche. So it's just really cool to see that digital marketing being used in a different way. So that's kind of the experience that I have in this field.
Nice. And I think you used more time this time.
Yes, I did.
The last episode, you guys just really went through it. All right, Shawn, tell us about your marketing experience.
So trying to do digital marketing, anything to do in social media space is just a total fail for me. I have tried it. I've played with it, what I thought I knew I was doing, and then I just sucked at it. So I am pumped. I don't know if it's actually going to be a debate because I'm actually pumped that Luna's on here to help us. I know Ashley wants this, but this is I do not have any experience with it, and the limited experience I do have, was not successful because I didn't understand what I was doing. I didn't know what to do, so I don't really have the experience I did have was frustrating because I didn't know what to do with it. So that's really the only answer I got. Old guy couldn't figure out the new internet. What is the internet?
What is the cloud, and is it in the sky?
Exactly. That's awesome.
No worries. It doesn't have to be a contentious debate, just like a back and forth kind of the different.
Yeah, I get it.
Okay, so now I'll give myself 1 minute to describe what the first one we're doing, which is text marketing, what it is. I realized 2 minutes was too much, especially when I started giving answers away. So we're going to see if 1 minute goes better. All right, so text marketing is essentially when you get all of those sometimes annoying, sometimes helpful text messages from various companies that are like, hey, you bought this shampoo a month ago. I bet you're running low. Time to buy another bottle of the shampoo. And you're like, oh yeah, I am kind of running low. It is time to buy a new bottle of shampoo. But in this case, it's for real estate. So it'll be things that look like, hey, I'm not sure if I have the right person, but is this John of 123 Main Street? I'm trying to buy your house. You could just give me a call. Just want to, like I said, make sure I've got the right person. And if not, I'm really sorry for bothering you. Obviously, a lot less words because texts have certain numbers of characters that you can use. But yeah, that is, in essence, text marketing. Okay, yeah, I think that 1 minute thing worked better.
Yeah, I think so.
So, Luna, why does text marketing work, and what are you trying to accomplish by using text marketing?
Okay, so text marketing, the goal you're going for with text marketing is to have what is a personal sort of connection because you're talking directly to this person without physical kind of reach out. So you can still use that digital kind of methodology, but you're still able to have some kind of personal connection in the terms of you're speaking directly to them. They know you're addressing them directly. You're talking to, the situation at hand, but still managing to keep it in this way where it can be sometimes automated. You can set up automated processes in the back end, and it just helps because it does cut down on that time, but it is still that personal touch. And I think it works well because of the fact that a lot of times, as much as no one likes to admit it, I think we're always really on our phones. And so, what it's kind of just interesting to have that at the front of your mind, because if you're on your phone doing something completely different maybe, and you get that like text, it's in the front of your mind, whether, you know, you get annoyed with it, swipe it away, whatever, it still brings it to that forefront. And that's something that's really important, is just capturing that attention, even if it's for just the short few seconds. Given how much like social media has kind of whittled down our attention spans, it does have such a good impact to be able to get your message or what you want to say as soon as possible. You push that to the front of their mind, so that the next time they think about that kind of topic in that field, you're more likely to come up in their brain. That's kind of my thoughts on that.
Nice. Okay. And Shawn, what are some cons to text marketing, and why do you think, if you think, that it doesn't work as well as some of the old school marketing techniques we discussed last week? You're muted.
I don't think I'm gonna have any cons to it because I think it works. This is not one I'm gonna to debate. It's a bad side of things, because I think I'll go with Luna on this and agree that it's actually more connection. Everybody's so connected to their phones. I mean, we talk about one of our other groups where we get a text reminder, and Ashley wrote the text and forgot that she did it. It's like the ad copy. I thought it was awesome. To the point where you were like, this was really cool. So I think it works just as another level of connection. And because, again, people are connected to their phones 24/7. And so I just need that little touch, right? It's a constant touch. It's easy. So I'm not going to go on the other side of this. I think it works. And I'm looking forward to seeing what we do to grow it more than I am to con it. I don't think it's a bad thing at all.
Okay. I'm going to yield your time to the chair, which is me.
Oh.
And I will list some cons here, because I want you guys to be aware of it. Like, one of the cons especially is the oversaturation. How many of these texts are you, and calls and voicemails, etc., are you guys getting right now? Because I guarantee it's a lot. Even if you're on the do not call registry, sometimes things slip through and shit happens. It's fine. But you're getting a lot. And if you're constantly bombarding someone with texts, like, I would get annoying. It would get annoying. I would block a number. So you run into the risk of that. You run into the risk of someone reporting your number as spam to the phone companies. So then all of a sudden you not only can't text, but you can't call from that number, because people are just going to see it as spam. So just like making sure that you're being careful, because if you do bombard sellers or buyers or whatever you're trying to do, it is going to make it more difficult for you in the future. Okay. Thank you for yielding your time.
I didn't even know what the hell that meant. You're like, I'm yielding your time. I'm like, what are you talking about? Okay.
I didn't call you in high school, so.
Oh, yeah, that wasn't any part of those.
No.
You win that one.
All right. So Luna, I know Shawn just kind of did this for you, but if you want to go deeper into what are some of the pros of text marketing and why it works better than the old school marketing techniques we were talking about.
Okay. I'll double dip here and go rogue again, because actually when you were talking about the inundation of text, it did make me think of, I mean, how many times have we seen, you know, those jokes pop up about, oh, we're calling about your car's extended warranty. I mean, the constant stream of just spam that we get these days. And I think that there are ways to craft the ad copy of the text to where it doesn't come across that way, especially when, you know, you take the time to ensure that that message that you're sending out is more personable, and it reads like a human, not a machine. And it kind of just ties back into the idea that you can do digital marketing and you can still be successful in making those connections with digital marketing if you just remember that at the core of every company is human beings. And if you just write like a human being and talk and interact like a human being, it makes much more of an impact than kind of sending out those like very automated machine corporate type of messages. And that's kind of something I think that is kind of lost when people talk about like digital versus, you know, old school marketing, is that I think there's this gap that no one realizes you can bridge by having that same genuineness, but using those digital methods. So I think that's kind of where the, I guess, debate becomes more of a, well, how can we put these techniques together to do something that's still very effective, but utilizes new like technology and opportunity to do something really cool. So that's kind of like, that's my thoughts on like combining the two, because I think that could be really powerful. Actually, you're muted.
You're muted.
And I know, I was so focused on getting this timer back up, but my phone was being stupid. Okay. So let me get the timer back up.
You yield your time.
Yes, I have yielded my time, but it's actually your turn next, Shawn. So I'm yielding your time again. Okay, hold on. So, Shawn, what are some alternatives, especially like some of the old school alternatives that we've talked about, to accomplishing the same goal as text marketing, the same kind of personal touch? Go.
I think they were the automated voicemails that went out, right? Or maybe you called a specific number from a piece of marketing that it was a recorded line. That was the only thing that I can even come close to is comparison to like a text, right? So it would be like, hey, call, and this was crazy because it'd be like call 1-866 blah 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 blah, right? And you would call this and it'd be a recorded line, not exactly to you, but tailored to that specific type of seller, right? So if you were a tax delinquent person, it would be, hey, thanks for calling us. We understand you're in a tough situation. We're really interested in talking about how to help you with that situation. Leave us a message here at blah, blah, blah. Right. And I mean, that sounds so antiquated to today, right? Where you can just get a message out to somebody and be like, hey, saw that you might be looking to sell 123 Main Street. Interested in helping you there. Opt out, stay in, that kind of stuff. So I think that's really cool to see the old versus the new that way. Same thing through a message and a flyer in the paper, right? It would direct you to call a number, and that number usually didn't go to somebody directly. It was to weed you out through the next process, right? Click 1, click 2, click 3, or 4 to opt out, or like get never called again, that kind of thing. So yeah, I think those were the ways that we used to do it. And it's crazy to think because it's like, that's what worked, right? And nowadays you're like, I would never think about that. It's like somebody shoots you a text because it's so personal. Most of the time now people don't even want to answer their phones or leave a voicemail, right? They're just like, hey, text me. Again, it's back into that. We're so connected into this virtual world. People aren't even taking the time for a 30-second message, right? I'd rather text or I'd rather opt out than it would to go the old school way. Mm-hmm. That's how we did it back in the day.
Oh, nice. I feel like you missed the parallel between text messaging and mail marketing, and how texting is just like mail marketing evolved for this digital age. You've still got that personal touch. You're still like, okay, someone has to open the text message, especially if you're someone like me that can't handle the red bubbles. If you're someone like Shawn, maybe it doesn't matter, but me, I can't handle it. So I have to open it and I'll read it, and I don't always reply, but sometimes I'm like, okay, interesting. But I think, yeah, just looking at that parallel between direct marketing and text and how this is what it has evolved into for that individualized approach.
I like that. That's a good rebuttal to that. I didn't think about that.
Yeah. And spoiler alert, we're going to see that with our next one, where social media marketing is the evolved version of bandit signs. Yes. Okay, so now it's on to me, and I've got 1 minute to explain social media marketing to you guys. So this would have been better for Luna, but she's going to do a very robust defense of it in a minute. Social media marketing is exactly what it sounds like. It's marketing on social media. You're going to go onto Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, anything that you can think of where you're sharing things with other people and using something as like a connection to market to them. And this is one of those things where it, like I said, with bandit signs, you draw a wide net. You're putting a lot out there. So you're going to be getting a lot in that may or may not meet your criteria. These could be ads, like paid ads that you're doing on Facebook, Instagram, etc., or it could just be posts like this podcast and promoting it for free on your pages that you have. So that's what I've got on social media marketing. Luna. can you tell us why social media marketing works and what you're trying to accomplish with it?
Yeah. So just like you said, social media marketing is definitely the equivalent, like the evolution of the bandit sign. So it's it's out there to cast a wide net. Like, you know, when you post, you're going to be pulling in more of a wider audience, unless you're doing some sort of paid marketing campaigns involving like targeting. But most of the time, if you're just posting organically, just posting to your page to get those, like, to get the responses, it's essentially like putting a bandit sign up on a median. It's anyone can see it, anyone can interact with it, you can get any kind of response. And because of this, it helps you to gain audiences that maybe you wouldn't have thought you were going to get before. But it also does have kind of that, like, the same thing we described with the bandit signs, basically. The thing is with social media that helps, I think, alleviate a lot of that is that you can choose strategically where to put the basically the digital bandit signs. You can put them in groups that have already talked about having an interest in like real estate investment. You can put them in groups that have an interest. Maybe you can put them on somewhere where people are listing, hey, I want to sell my house, or hey, I'm in this situation. You can find these places where people are discussing these things that makes them a better, essentially just a better candidate to be marketed towards, and reach out to them in that way. That's still kind of broad, but it does help to like essentially target in a way that's still very open and still leaves you open to getting more opportunity. So the accomplished, like, the goal of social media marketing is to contact people via the social platforms, essentially to not only market, but also just kind of build up that community, that traction, and really just that response.
Awesome. Yeah. And with the added bonus that social media marketing is not, for the most part, illegal, like bandit signs.
Yeah, so, for the most part, because there are some parts of it that are not good.
Yeah, some parts that are not good, but you have less of a chance of getting fined for social media marketing than you do for bandit signs.
Yes.
Okay, Shawn. So what are some cons to social media marketing, and why do you feel like things like bandit signs and other old school marketing techniques worked better?
I think, just what was available at the time, right? We were not in this world of social media. I mean, I'm only 10 years into this, but I make it sound like it was like way back in the day. But if you do compare it to, 15, I mean, we're 10 years in on me, 15 to 20 years ago, difference between now is still a massive difference. You have such a broader reach with these social media sites, and they are way more connected with people. So before, it was just like we only relied on the bandit signs, and it was grunt work. You had to go out and print the signs, get them done, cut them, stake them, put them in the grounds, right? So, I mean, compared to today, it's just so much easier, way easier from a digital standpoint, I guess. But yeah, you look back in the day and it was like email this, or and I was never a big email person, but it's more of a sign in a card or sign in a letter was my go-to. And then the follow-up from that on phone calls, that was definitely the big part of it, right? Leaving voicemails on voicemail machines, like that's totally different from your message, like you said, with text message, and you're quick to respond versus a long drawn out call, right? And that was just the big difference between now and then, I feel like. So again, I'll go back to this. I'll say it again. Like, I think that the world that we live in today makes it way more easier versus I had to walk in the snow uphill both ways and put bandit signs out and leave voicemails, like that kind of stuff, because it was a lot of work. And now that we have the ability to have all these virtual assistants and this internet world, and like just everything is virtual. So it's a completely different game, completely different, to the better, for sure.
Nice. I think that was the closest anyone's come to getting to that, the time.
Oh, nice.
Okay, so Luna, Shawn kind of did your job for you, talking about the pros and not yet. So let's switch it up a little bit. And why don't you tell us a little bit about the cons of social media marketing? Because we sort of hinted about that, about like some of it not being good. So go into more detail there.
So, I mean, yes, I'm usually an advocate for it, but there are some certain things about it that are just, they will take time to fix. I definitely think that for a fact. And unfortunately, there's a lot that happens because of many factors. One of the factors is like the anonymity. Wow, I couldn't say that. People are anonymous on certain types of social media, and even if they're not anonymous, they feel like they can say things because they're behind a screen, they're behind a keyboard. So whereas, you know, people do feel the same way I've noticed behind like a phone call or a text message. Face to face, you don't really encounter a lot of that. I mean, you can, but it's not nearly as, you know, absolutely outrageous as you find online. So that's one of the other problems, is just kind of like you have to weed through what is essentially just a mishmash of trolling and people just taking out sort of things, as well as the fact that you have to be really careful with certain internet regulating laws, because basically things have gotten more and more strict as the years have gone on and the internet has expanded, and they've started to realize that they have to catch up in terms of copyright law, intellectual property law. There was a law, COPPA, that was passed for like children's protections. Certain states have certain laws regarding internet usage, certain countries, the EU has their own. So it's really a really weird kind of chess game involving a lot of legal things nowadays. And so long as you follow the terms and guidelines of the social media platforms you're using, you should be fine. But the problem is that someone maybe just going into this might not know about all these things and might make these mistakes without even knowing about it. So it can be kind of tricky and kind of concerning to just dive headfirst into without having the information.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I just want to bring up the algorithms too. I saw a page today who the Facebook algorithm took down a post because it said it went against community standards, and the post was a picture of a coffee cup that said this counts as water. But if it like, because of where the glare was, it kind of looked like CUNTS. So I think that's why they did it, but also like that's really stupid. This is obviously like something that's funny. It's not going against community standards. And so letting an algorithm that has shown bias on, you know, just in like different words and stuff, it's hard to make sure that all advertising can go out. So that is it for us, I think. Or did Shawn have one more? Nope, I lied. Shawn, I'm sorry, I almost cut you off there. So what are some other alternatives to accomplish the same goal as social media marketing?
That's a good question.
Outline. So
other alternative to social media marketing, I think networking. There is something to be said in a networking environment, and knowing that we've been in this virtual world, these Zoom meetings that we do. So that's another big one. We reach a lot of people by being able to talk to them in a Zoom setting, or save a lot of time to not have to go meet, have lunch, you know, all the beat around the bush stuff to get to the point of what we want to talk about. So I think that's another piece of marketing, another way of marketing. It's always a really good one from us as a company. I don't know. I'm really trying to beat that one down and think about it, to think about things outside of digital marketing or online marketing. Yeah, I mean, again, I think I could just stick with networking. It's a really good one. It's in this business is definitely not about, it is about what you know, but it's more about who you know, because it opens up doors to go and meet those people and talk. Right. Mm-hmm. So we recently talked about a thing called the who, not the how. And I get to meet the who's to show how to do the how, because it helps a lot. So yeah, networking is a really big part of this.
So you're about to jump into Thursday's lunchtime live there, Shawn.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to think that just talking to a few people about, hey, what you do, how you do it, can jar up business, right? It could be hey, I'm literally jumping on my phone to do something, but what if it just came from a phone call, right? And it was a phone call that you merged somebody in, like talk about back in the day stuff. So merging back in, and then next thing you know, boom, you've got a conference call with 3 to 4 people on it that you're doing business with. So that's some of the old school stuff, I guess.
Yeah. And you hit time that time.
Oh,
Nice.
I like this timer thing. It's cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's really all we've got for you guys today. Thank you so much for listening and watching this sort of debate style episode. Let us know if you liked it, if you want us to try to be a little bit more, like if you want us to try to do another debate episode, maybe be a little bit more strict about it, not let people switch sides in between. We can do that. But thank you so much to Shawn and Luna for participating. And for those of you listening, let us know who won. We would have put a post in on Facebook and Instagram last week to figure out who won for old school marketing. Now let's see who won for new school marketing. Was it Sean Bowen with his somewhat passionate defense of old school marketing technique? Was it Luna Ancrum's zealous promotion of new school tactics? Or again, was it me, Ashley Little, for being the best debate moderator / virtual bouncer in the REI School of Hard Knocks? Vote on our Facebook and Instagram pages, and be sure to check out our website, www.wholesalingoutofthebox.com, for tons of great resources, and listen to our past podcast episodes for fun times and invaluable information. Thanks again, everybody, and we'll see you again next week.